Andy, I'm going to suggest in a minute summarize how you think this is going to go, and I'll then do the same.
Okay, I think there's not a lot of new stuff actually in this document. Is the first thing to say. There's a mixture of some quite positive, logical things and some worrying things. The most worrying thing for me is towards the beginning of the document and the focus or obsession on the 8 a.m. Um, rush and doing something about that in short order, because I do think the 8 a.m. rush is in some way a symptom of a system that is failing because it is under resourced, it's been underfunded for a long period of time, it doesn't have the right workforce in place. We all know these things, and I just worry that that will fail, or we will solve the 8 a.m. rush but create all sorts of problems elsewhere within the system that we may not even understand where they will be at the moment. So actually, whilst when you're getting into the nitty gritty of some of the things towards the end of the document, you can start to think actually a lot of this is sensible. Like the initial kind of premise, of the document, I think is quite worrying. I think it's quite political in its nature. So I am actually a little bit troubled by this. I think also it has the flavour of Department of Health seeking quite granular control how general practice performs in every general practice up and down the country in a way that it hasn't before. I think previously we've had a bit more of a let 1,000 flowers bloom. If telling people to call back the next day, works very well, and there's very high level of satisfaction with the general practice in a certain area, they've been allowed to do that. In other places where people are less satisfied with that and it creates friction with the population, people have adopted other ways of meeting patient demand, and that's sort of previously been the way things have worked up until now. We've let individual general practices or groups of general practices cater to their local demand, in a way that happens organically in those areas. And this is very, very directive, very, very top down and political, and that worries me. So that's my conclusion, Gandhi.